So Manchester United lose the Manchester Derby by 3 goals to 0 in what only can be described as a really embarrassing performance. I have to always hold my hand up and be honest and say that, United were bad today. And the media have been fairly critical of United. They've been critical of the system. They've been critical of Amorim, the players. Let's just face it. Today was a performance that backed up those critics. I mean, it was bad. The players didn't look like they wanted it. The only player that actually looked like they gave a crap was Bryan Mbeumo. He tried. I mean, he actually tried so many times to try and get us something from this game. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the goals that we conceded because the goals tell me that the mentality of this team is so weak and fragile. But then on top of that, I have to also say, some of Amorim's decisions baffled me. They confused me. Let's start by talking about Amorim pre-match with his starting 11. Obviously, with Cunha and Mount injured, I thought Amorim was going to push Bruno Fernandes higher up the pitch. He's much more influential in that position against the bigger teams. I think so. I think we all can agree that Bruno being as a 10 against the bigger teams offers us something more going forward. I didn't think today we were necessarily bad in midfield. Obviously, our midfield was a little bit exposed at times in the first half, but I thought we were kind of good in our shape for the most part. But unfortunately, Ruben Amorim starts Bruno Fernandes as a center midfielder, and then Amad Diallo as a left 10. And I understand, Cunha is out, Mason Mount is out, but why deviate from what worked? Amad is just much more expansive on the right-hand side. I'm not too sure why he decided to try and mix and match against Manchester City, a team that is going to be difficult to play no matter what state they're in. And to play Amad Diallo as a left 10 I feel completely threw off the balance of the team. Masraoui being as a right wing back hasn't really been the best. You know what I mean? He's not as expansive as you would want him to be as a wing back. But him being in that position didn't give us a lot going down the width. Amad Diallo, when he was eventually put as a wing back when Masraoui got subbed off in the second half, was so much more dangerous, taking on Nico O'Reilly. Those 1v1 situations that we predicted in the preview of this game that would help Manchester United have an edge over City, Amorim just went away from it. He just didn't trust it. And I didn't understand that from the beginning. Bringing in Ugarte into the midfield also shocked me. I didn't expect to see him start. And to be fair to him, first half he was good. First half, he didn't really put much of a foot wrong. He did the best that he could, even on the goal that we conceded. And we'll talk about the goals individually later on. But I thought he did well. The second half, he gives away just a cheap goal that completely killed off the game. By 2-0, you could tell that Man United had really lost their confidence. But by 3, it basically was just, the game was done. Even me watching and seeing us come alive in the last 10 minutes didn't really show me that this team has the mentality to beat any of the big teams. I'm not really sure entirely what Ruben Amorim was thinking, especially in this game with the pre-match starting 11 and then his substitutions. I'm not sure why bringing on Maguire was the first thing he thought of. Why not bring on Zirkzee, who's your only other offensive option off the bench when we're already down by 2-0? Why bring on another center back who's slow, who cannot run with Haaland? You already saw De Ligt and Luke Shaw get beat. So how does Amorim think that Maguire is going to fix that? What was he thinking? And we actually looked much better in the last 10 minutes when we're 3-0 down because we're throwing everything forward. But it doesn't make sense why it needs to be. We have to go down into a situation where it doesn't seem like we can even climb ourselves back up, where we actually start to play like a footballing organization. The first half was so bad, I didn't even want to talk about the good things that I saw. I saw good pressing actions for the most part. But for some reason, we just were so lackluster in the final third. And it carried on into the second half. And then on top of that, we just made silly errors. A lot of the talk will be about the system. It'll be about how Ruben Amorim sets up the team. But let's face it, guys. The mentality of this team is weak. The quality in the final third was so lackluster today. If we're being afforded space in behind, how many times did Dorgu have an opportunity to wing in across from the left and just completely shanked it or mishit it? I don't know if he even completed one accurate cross today. And it's moments like that where we get into these positions where we can create chances. We don't. Manchester City are an extremely clinical team. How could we let something like this happen against a team where we know their biggest threats and we know how their biggest threats operate? How many touches did Erling Haaland really have in this game where he just completely dominated our back line with his pace, his power, and his lethal finishing. Let's get into the goals now, because those goals were just embarrassing. To this day, it shocks me that these players can still make the same basic errors. I mean, these are things that, how many times can you tell a player that he shouldn't ball watch? How many times? The first goal, I'll put it up now, the first goal. Jeremy Doku does really well to find himself in that pocket of space but behind our two central midfielders. Fine, he gets the ball, he drives. Ugarte does a good job of actually tracking the run, following him, being a nuisance. But Luke Shaw, Luke Shaw in this position, how weak are you? And Luke Shaw is not a bad 1v1 defender, so it kind of blew my mind that he let Doku do the one move that Doku does very effectively, but he let him do it so easily to the point where Doku has a free run into the box. He basically took out 3 of our players with that one move. And for Luke Shaw, with his experience, to let that happen, it's just poor. And then on the flip side, Ugarte does well to kind of halt Doku. He still gets across into the box, and where is anybody? Anybody. I know on this one, it's Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, that's 2 goals now this season. And look, I love Bruno. I'm never going to be one of those to hate on Bruno and to talk down about him. But look, we got to be honest with ourselves. He's let 2 goals go by him where he's not tracking the runner. There's no reason for Phil Foden to have all that space in the box. And for Bruno to just allow this is frustrating. This is where people say Bruno Fernandes is not fit to play in that position. And I think in a game like this is not where you should be playing Bruno if you can help it. If Cunha was in this game, it'd be a bit different. I think Cunha would have been a lot more impactful in coming back to receive the ball, giving us more options. Amad Diallo was non-existent as a left 10. He was absolutely non-existent. He was out of position a lot. And it made us look so disjointed in our build-up. It made us look like there were just gaps all over the pitch. This can be put down to a system problem, sure, whatever you want to say, but I don't think any other system would fix the fact that some of these players just don't give their all. How many of these players, realistically, can you guys say looked interested in this match? It looked like once the first goal went in, they were like, oh, well, we conceded, so if we can get a goal back, sure, but it didn't look like they actually wanted it. The start of the second half was brilliant. I thought United came out, they were imposing themselves. City dropped off and let us have the ball. Guess what? All of that is undone by silly errors. Silly errors. The second goal. How can this happen? For all the good that Leny Yoro has done this season, and honestly, since he's been at the club, how do you get the wrong side of your man? This is basic. It's basic football knowledge, especially as a defender. You never let your opponent go side. You have to be on the other side of them to force them away from the goal. And for some reason, Luke Shaw, De Ligt, they can see the run of Haaland. They can sense it. But for some reason, the defensive awareness is so poor. They're too slow and too late to react. Haaland gets a free run into the box. And Haaland, with his physicality and there's just no reason why he's not going to finish that chance. The third goal, is there even anything to talk about on the third goal? Even Ruben Amorim himself in the post-match conference was just like, I don't even know what to say about the third goal. It doesn't make sense, some of the goals that we concede. And all of the goals that we concede were avoidable. And this is exactly what Ruben Amorim said about that.
The third goal is like, it's hard to describe. So we suffer goals that we can avoid when it's just the opponent, but we can avoid these kind of goals.
All I know is serious questions need to be asked because obviously we need results. Results are the most important thing. And now we're going into the game against Chelsea on a bad result. Going into the game against Chelsea, not really knowing who's going to be available or not. If we lose Matheus Cunha and we lose Mason Mount, that's fine. We have options to fill. But why play Amad out of position? Why not play Bruno in his best position against a better team? Why not just make it so that players are comfortable and familiar in their roles? But at the same time, the players don't understand what it means to be aware on the pitch sometimes. They don't understand what it means to give fight and urgency. These are issues that really need to be addressed, seriously need to be addressed. There's no reason why we should continue to see these same schoolboy errors from this squad. The fact of the matter is, for me, no manager can come in and tell these group of players with the way that their mentality is and the way that they play that things will drastically change. We still need to see a massive squad overhaul. Luke Shaw, I don't know how there's still people who defend Luke Shaw. I try in my videos to be subjective, and I try to be honest and say Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, and Casemiro shouldn't be on this team. And that's not to say that one game here or there, they're not going to have a good performance. But let's be real, moving forward, these aren't the players that should be at the club. They shouldn't be here. The quality is suffering, and we are suffering as a result. There's only so much that can be done when the quality and the mistakes and the errors just keep on suffering. I'm being serious when I say that I still have faith that things can turn around. It was never supposed to be easy. People think for some reason this optimism means that Man United should be winning these games, but how can you go from a bad situation to a good situation in just a couple of months? Or it takes time. And I'm going to keep banging on that drum because things will take time. Obviously, I know that results are more important. We need to start winning games. It was always going to be tough against Manchester City, but look, I have to be critical and I have to be honest. This video, I'm struggling to find many positives because the players themselves don't give you that positivity from their body language. Only a few players really wanted it today. It's a shame that we have to talk about these things this long into Emery's tenure. And the same attitudes and problems we found ourselves with previous managers who had better win rates, they still got sacked. It still in the end suffered because it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. It's truly frustrating. There needs to be change drastically. I think the players can hold up their hands and say they're not doing their part. But Amorim has to come out and say, hey, maybe these things aren't working with what I got, and I've got to find a solution quick. I'm not losing faith in Amorim because I don't think Amorim is at fault for a lot of these results. I really do think the players, when we step on the pitch, the players have to produce. Obviously, if the game isn't going your way, the manager tweaks things to try and give the players the best opportunity to go ahead and do better. I still think that Amorim got his selection wrong and his substitutions were just odd. But at the end of the day, the players really have to look at themselves in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror, maybe even bang your head on the wall a little bit and ask yourself, what is really going on? Why can't we hash out results? Why can't we actually grind out results? Why can't we play to the best of our ability? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it anymore. A result like this is not good, obviously. I don't think we were ever expected to beat City. I think it's just the way that we lose games when the players don't even look like they're up for it. That's what frustrates me the most. If the players give their all and they play a great game and they lose because they were just outplayed or the other team just had the better opportunity to score, that's fine. That's okay. It's just these embarrassing losses where the players don't even look like they care. That's what gets me just annoyed. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this game. Like I said, I'm not going to try and feed you this positivity gimmick when this game was just more about being critical and being truthful and honest that this team still has a long way to go. Still has a long way to go. Let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. God bless. And yeah, hopefully, this doesn't ruin your day too much. But we'll see what Manchester United can do just to bounce back from this result. They need to start picking up results, if anything. We'll talk soon, guys. Peace.